see. Hopefully you'll be okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Us. Oh, negations. Just start a little bit of loosening. Vertical. Okay, I'm just working the head, looking up, and down, and up, and down, to the left, and the right, and to the side, and the side. Just pressing down gently with the hands. To the back of the front of the head, pressing back. To the back, pressing forward. Just loosening off. Working circles, figure of eights. Okay, into the shoulders. Just tighten everything up to the ears. And release. Again. Also tighten the rest of the body as well. Stop. And release. And just circling. Forwards. Just looking across. Okay, up, diagonals. And the weight. Just circling. Delivery. See it come in. Circling the hips.
Aquí estoy la puerta. ¿Y dónde está? ¿Y yo estoy? Sí, por el piso de la
Working the knees.
Sí.
Keep pressing them back.
Pero ¿dónde está? ¿Dónde está? Porque yo tu puerta no veo.
And down. Back. Working the feet. Stamping the foot a little bit. Working the ankle. Working the toes. On the side. And rotating. A little bit. Yeah. And we'll just go into a little bit of foundation. So just coming down, drop the body back. And just the first thing is just let the weight settle back. So really, as if you're kind of leaning backwards on the wall. First thing is lengthen the body. Take a nice deep breath in. You know, lengthen, open the ribs, open the lungs. Take a nice deep breath in. Let it out. And as you let it out, the main thing is not to contract everything back down. So breathing in, open out, and as you go out, if you've got a belt on or you've all got pants on. So if you've got them like this, what you're basically going to do is let the abdomen's going to pull back from the waistband. So it's got that kind of contraction in the body, but it's not a kind of lessening out. So just 3 or 4 breaths here, nice and deep in. Length and create more length, and then just let it out. Maintain the length. Lengthening through the back of the neck. Weight back a little bit. Great length. And then what you're going to do is just anchor the body back. Weight goes into the heels, and you're going to open up like a kind of wide wingspan with body. The chest pulls forward a little bit, and the chin's going to pull back. And again, just nice deep breaths in. And use the breath really to create length through the structure. So length. And really try and feel that the back of the ribs especially is going to kind of expand out. You really want the lower back to start to anchor the body. And the knees shouldn't be forward of the ankles, preferably on the same line as the ankles, and if possible, further back. Widen out, one the next breath, and then you're going to scoop the hands up. And as you do it, drop the hips back. So scoop them up, drop them up. And then you've got a choice from here, you can keep the hands like this, or you can join them together. So this is done like a, I'll show you like this. It goes like this, and it's called like a sphere of tension. So it's as if you've got a ball in the hands, and you're pressing this together. So you can do like this or like this. Just keep the hands up. And again, the basic instruction is chest up, chin back. But it's a little bit more like lending through the back and drawing the top of the spine up. So you want to feel like the hips and the back pulling apart. Hands as high as you can. Hips back a little bit more. Nice deep breath in. And just from here, just let the hands go to the top of the shoulders, just across the body. And you're just going to hinge the hips. So try and avoid, in this case, watch this. I can do this with the knee, like something like that. Try and get the weight back and just the hips. Just the hips. And if you feel like kind of falling over with it, it's also good. The weight and the weight on the foot is on 3 points. It's on the heel, the base of the big toe, and the base with the little toe. And you've got this kind of triangulation in the toe, so the weight's not forward into the toes. Mostly in the heel, because that's where the ankle's sitting into the body. Just about 8. Hinge the hip. Feel the lower back. And then just come back to this position. Nice deep breath in, a little bit lower than before. A little bit further back with the hips, hands as high as you can. Nice deep breath in, and then as you breathe out on this one, just lower the hands down to the ground. Hip back more. Hands come out, and again, keep the knees back behind the heels. Knees back behind the ankles. As if you're pulling the hips and the hands apart. Nice deep breath in. Lengthen through the spine again. Check the back of the neck, nice and long. Next, deep breath out, come to the shins. Again, just create a sense of length down the back. The hips are hinged back. Nice deep breath in. Nice deep breath out, and just come to this original position, and much lower now than beginning when you started. So again, chin back, chest up, spread wide with the shoulders. Feeling really to open the rib cage, open the lungs out. Your legs start to shake, which is good. Nice deep breath in. Nice deep breath out. And just release it back up. Just do that. Okay. Good. We'll just do one more, which is a light lunge one. So you're going to go just like this, the feet. The key with all of these, again, I said it's a lot, but it's like I don't want the knee to go forward. So keep the legs parallel, hips are square in this case. The first thing you're going to do is just take a few deep breaths. So breathe in, let the vertebra, everything kind of expand open. Chest up, chin back. Let the shoulders start to kind of come around a little to the side. So I don't want them kind of hunched forward. Open. Nice deep breath in. Feel the connection with the ground. Keep the length as you exhale. Just coming up to the top. Hands above. Again, chest up, chin back. Hands as high as you can. Just notice the kind of, even this very simple movement, that the stress that the shoulders will kind of do. So try and transfer that really into the lower back, to the glutes and the core. Nice deep breath in. Every time the breath, try and create more and more space, more and more length. And you're going to clasp the fingers together. Come up, and you're just going to go away from the back leg. Nice deep breath in. And out. And then in this position, just with the back ankle, I'm just going to raise it up and sink it into the ground. And focus on not only the raise, but really the press down. So you're going to raise up, sink down, and just notice all the mobility is going to come from that point. Everything else is nice and tight. Press down into the back heel. Keep the weight in the front foot shifted again back to the heel, not bending the knee at all. One more. Here, back, and let it go there. Okay, and then just changing sides. Again, just nice deep breath in. Lengthen through the rib cage. Expand, especially again the back. Let the shoulders just naturally come back. Length through the body. Just reaching the arms up. And chest up, chin back. A few deep breaths in. Feel again the weight mostly in the back towards the ankle. Knees loose, but it's not bent forward towards the body. So lace the fingers together, just stretch it a bit more. Nice deep breath in, and then just start to take it away from the back leg again. All the time keeping the length in the upper body. And then again, just with working the ankle, just raise it up and then press the heel down into the ground. Raise it up. Use that motion. You can also create a little bit more spiral in the movement. Keep the breath going nice and big. The weight's always shifting to the back. Lift it down just one more time. And then down. And relax it. Okay. Good. And just shake the hips off. Shake the arms a little bit. You should hopefully after these exercises you feel a bit more in the lower back. So if that area is kind of tight, you feel it's a bit like spasming as you do those exercises, it's kind of good because that's the area that we're kind of looking to strengthen. Especially good for us in terms of weapon work because this is the area that takes a lot of force. Otherwise the shoulders take it, and I don't really want that to happen in the weapon work. So just take a bokken. I'm going to go straight in. If you just get in the hips and just feeling up, the key thing we're going to look at the KUMITACHI work. The key thing is this idea of passing weight through the sword. So the first thing is just settling into this position, finding this. We're just going to go straight into the cut, but just feel that you drop down the hips. So you're into like a light squat, and the feeling is really emphasizing the lower part of the body. What I want to do now is like in the foundation work, I'm going to throw the weight back. So I really want in this case to drop the weight through the ground, right into the base. There. There. Just really get into it. Big movements, nice and clear. Really with a clear sense of
nosotros en la parte de orientación estuvimos también hablando un poco más en la misma línea. Perdón. Está dando clases más.
You can have Spanish classes as well.
Trabajar mucho la estrategia de estudio, hablando con Ausi y con Merce, que son cosas que ya estaban ya viendo en el
If you can understand any of this,
oral,
I
sobre
give you a
todo
medal.
la expresión escrita. Y también añadió lo de no cerrar los niveles del área suspendida o adaptada tan rápido, porque luego dicen que los niños y las niñas se aburrían y al final se terminaban saliendo, repetían primero, repetían segundo y como que ya se aburrían. Eso también lo dijeron. Y también lo que había añadido Sara anteriormente.
Okay, good. Nice. Okay, and in this case, really putting all your effort into the center, or your focus into the center of the body, and especially the hips. So what you want to do, you've got this position. So what I want to get out of in terms of the body work is like raising the center of gravity and then dropping it down. It looks something like that, and when I take that to movement, it looks something like this. I kind of throw the body up and sink it down. I'm trying to get out of that, but what happens naturally is that the hips are in a raised position, and then I drop the hips. But try and get a feeling that you're not kind of pancaking the structure down. So what I mean by that is like I'm not collapsing the structure and dropping the hips in. I'm actually using the pressure of the hips to push everything out. So feel that collapse of the knee, or not collapse of the knee, it's a pressure down, and the knee's going to receive that pressure and bend under it. So it's got this feeling where you feel it, you drop everything into the hip, and then everything goes from that, rather than drop the knees and everything kind of collapses into it. You get a kind of pancaking effect. So just get this feeling that the hips are kind of, again, anchoring the movement and really kind of pressing down into it. Or dropping down is the better. Dropping down is a better word because it's not really a press. You're just letting it fall in. Just let the hips kind of drop. Boom. That's it. Yeah. And you're mimicking the same action with the arms. So that same action you're going to pass through into the arms and into the sword. So this is where it's not really the arms doing it. You're trying to get the feeling that the hips create that motion. Or not the feeling, just the reality is the hips start that motion. And the arms follow it. That one. Yeah. That's it. So it can sometimes feel like a double action. I'm kind of dropping into the ground and extending out, but it's actually the same thing, the same action. Yeah, that's it. There we go. Nice. That's it. That's it. Drop. Boom. Good. That's it. Okay. And it's a little bit, I was saying this morning, get the fit, what you don't want to do in this case is like open the elbows too far. And then what happens is the structure's really out. And in order to get back in, it's got to go kind of all around. And I'm going like all the way around the ball. So get the sense that although you're opening the shoulder up, it's just kind of in that position. And as I initiate that movement from the hip, it kind of closes back in. So you get this kind of action. And that's just naturally happening. Just because the way the arms are going to fall, they're going to come towards the center of the body. So you've got that position, and then that happens. And just feel that that's going to happen naturally. So what I need to really do is feel that the shoulder is kind of useless, and that the shoulder is just going to follow the body. The moment I add strength into the shoulder, push it out, let it go around, or try and push it down, I'm adding tension where it's really not necessary. And this will just grind against the shoulder and actually minimizes, it takes power away from the cut. So what I want to feel is that the shoulder can just drop through. So every so often, just allow the shoulder to just swing through also. Just going to drain down that way. Yeah. That's it. That's it. Yeah. Good. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Also focus on the raise. So the cut's important, but so is the raise to it in terms of training koki work. So really feel that also, rather than from the hands, or from the arms, that movement or that motion is going to come from the hip. So feel that the hips are really underneath the sword at this point, especially when you're in that position, when you've got the cut down. So the hips are anchored, and then really get underneath it. That, and then underneath it. So I'm trying to get all the feeling in this part of the bokken. So not on top by pulling it up, but by raising it from below. And if you've got one of those you've got a heavy bokken, you've got a 𝒊𝒏𝒕, just feel that you're really raising it from below. And all the time the feeling below the bokken, all the time below, all the time. And especially in that first raise. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Very good. Yeah, good. Nice. That's it. Yeah. Nice, nice, nice.
La salida tiene más informes, ¿no? ¿No?
Great. Good. Okay, so we'll take it into Yokumen. So keeping the feet as they are. Obviously, if you go basically with the Yokumen's basically a variation on the Shomen. So you've got this kind of motion. And then as I come into Yokomenuchi, you're going to let the whole body coil around it. So you're going to let it go coil and around. So you're going to allow the sword to go circularly. That means, again, that the hips are going to do it. So just get the feeling that the hip first kick, the hips are going to do this kind of action. Yokomenuchi is quite easy because the hips are just doing that. Now, when I go to Yokomenuchi, you've got this feeling the hips are going to start to twist into it. So just play with first, just the raise, just the raise, just the raise. And I want that movement of the hip to translate into the hand work. And you've got that kind of motion. So just take it really slow. Also, just feel that you can just let it go through. Again, I really want the feeling that the shoulders become kind of useless. So I want the hands, the shoulders especially, to be open. Just play with it, just that swinging through. The key thing I want with this one is that even if the shoulders become loose, the center doesn't. So the center's always engaging fully. So whatever the movement is, I don't want the center to become like floppy, loose. I want the center to drop into the feet and be like that, but the hands can be very loose. I don't want to translate that kind of looseness into the hip or into the center. That's good. That's it. There we go, good. Okay, good. Good. So try this with one hand as well, because I have less tendency to start to dominate with the hand when I've got just one on. So just watch this. What I don't want to do is something like that. This will feel really unwieldy with one hand. So get the sense again that the hip is really working in coordination with the hand. So you've got this kind of motion. And really emphasize it now. So you've got like this kind of work. The hand's just passing through this line though, but it's going to do it through a variation of hip work. So you've got Shomenuchi that way, and then Yokomenuchi's introduce a kind of kick to the system. There. So feel free, play with one hand. The left side's really tricky if you try and do this one side, but still possible. You can drop down. That's it. Just let it go through it. Play with both hands, play with one. That's it, that's it. And let it track along the center. It goes, that's it. Yeah. Good. Good. Nice. Good. And then the last one we look at is just the ski. So just playing with the left side only. Let's go from here. You're just in this position. And again, feel that this is really a movement off the hip. So it's not a push out with the hand. It's really a movement of the hip here. So you've got that, and then this. And just play with it's basically a movement of extension. This. That's it. And the core's really engaged all the way through. So even though it's slow, even though it's light, feel that it's really engaged with a serious kind of feeling that, yeah. That's it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so just the last few minutes of this, just play with all of them. So you've got Shomenuchi, Yokomenuchi, Ski. I'm really keeping the feet down, like almost like the feet are glued to the ground. So I want the feeling like it's really solid connection. And again, just focusing on the hip work. So the hip work really dense, really heavy, and it's quite light in the hands. They're really connected densely. But just play with the hip. Hip translates. Hip translates. All the time I want the hip to be active in everything I do. Oh, hip. 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 Just play with it. Yeah, good. That's it. Nice. Yeah.
¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo está? Mira, yo tengo una duda, porque a mí me gustaría o me haría ilusión, ya que Fabián se va a quedar un año más. A ver, yo sé,
Okay, just watch this. So when you do this, also focus on the breath and focus on the hip, but really focus on the body. What I don't want to do is have looseness in the system. So flexibility, but not looseness. So watch this. If I have really a loose system, this kind of thing happens. So everything goes like this. So that the vibration I'm kind of looking for in the hands will just kind of, it will pull the body out and it will pull me out of balance. And the more power I add to it, the more force I add, the worse that gets. And then I go into all these patterns, which are holding patterns, which are pulling the body back into tension. And I'm actually doing these kind of things. I'm doing that kind of thing. But actually, I'm working with a very fragile system because I'm not allowing it just to sit into place. So just get a sense that when you're doing it, as you find these points, really find that the center is really holding everything together. But it's holding everything from a point of view of stability. That's really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a stable posture. Nice. And the moment I got something that's kind of a loose chain in the connection, it's going to destabilize you. The body's going to try and pull itself together. But really get a sense that the center's holding everything together. Center's holding everything together. And it's soft. It's a soft power, but it's really a heavy power as well. So see if you can get that. Just one exercise, super simple, and it gets away from the sword. Sometimes we're a bit kind of in the hands like this, doing it with the sword. So it's just really simple. You just like this, same actions with the hip. Da, 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 da. So just play with it, but I really want something that's very, very dense. And it's not about pushing, so it's not about doing this. This is force. This is force, but try and get a sense that it's something heavy in the hip. But it's really solid, but it's supple as well. But it shouldn't feel like it's loose. So it shouldn't feel like everything's kind of loose. So draw a distinction between like heavy, flexible, extended, compressive, but without pushing it and without doing something like this. So just get, this is really simple exercise, but you just raise it up, drop it down, and it has to come from the center, otherwise it just won't go anywhere. It will just destabilize you. So again, look for something that's really like an impact, percussion, and you can take that anywhere with the sword. There. And once you've got that, simply just start to move around with it as well. So you'll notice this is very similar to kind of the way we would do Ikkyo, kind of impacting in with the body and dropping it through. So just play with the sword a little bit. Just forget that you're doing a kind of cutting motion, because it can kind of block what we're actually doing with the body work. That's it. There we go. That's it. 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 Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. I give you one more, which is just a bit more supple, but it's the same thing. You're going to have that sword like this. So you just do like this, toss it up, or let it go. You're going to toss it up, let it settle in. So I really want the structure in a sound place. If I do like this, what? So I've got to do there's got to be a rule with this one. I can't hold the structure up. So what's this? I can do this really badly. Try and hold the tension up. I'm not going to really hold this up. All the toes go into tension. So I've got to do a rule for myself that I can't hold the body up in strength. So I need to do that. So I should feel the sword when it hits the hand, hits the foot, hits the foot, hits the foot. So what you're wanting to do, you're trying to create a rubberiness in the connection. So density and heaviness is also about suppleness as well. It's the same thing, but just get the sense that as you do this, you can also do this kind of one-sided as well, like that. It's a bit more there. I was being careful I don't drop the bottom, but just toss it up lightly there. And again, I want the feeling all the time that I'm underneath the sword, underneath. And try what happens when you do that. You just go out of balance. Even a very, very light object in front of the body will pull you out. Now imagine that's going 90 miles an hour and you're concentrating on someone else as well. This will totally destabilize you. So I've got pressure, I've got weight, I've got momentum, I'm unstable. The body's just going to try and hold itself together. But the more efficient I can get at stuff like this, the better. That's it. This is super easy stuff. The hard part is trying to translate this back into the active weapon work. But this is pretty easy to kind of get. Yeah, that's it. Good. Yeah. That's it. Good. Very good. Okay, good. So just do a short form with the bokken. So from here, I'm just going to go into number 1. Yeah, and then you're going to come into number 5, Yokomenuchi on the right side, and then ski. Let's do that. So you can just do this very short set. These are all the important parts. So Shomenuchi, Yokomenuchi, another Yokomen, and then a ski. Just weaving them together, just in a short set. Nice and slow. Back. That's it. That's it. That's good. Okay. Good. Okay, so just see if you can translate the stuff from this position where you've got these three basic hip work. So you've got like that, and then you've got like this kind of motion, and then you've got the full kind of spiraling coming through. See if you can translate that now, because one of the problems with going into motion is the feet and the legs start to take over that aspect of the movement. So, and the hips start to do the same thing. So it starts to look something like this. And it's actually just the legs are just coming into position, but the hips are not really doing anything. So just get a sense that each of these movements, the Shomanuchi, the hips specific, then the Yokonuchi, the hip specific, the other side specific, and then this way specific. So they're just trying to exaggerate them a little bit, but know that because you're doing something different with the hands, different with the bokken, different function, you need a different hip movement. Just try and see if you can feel, what do I need to do to cause that to happen in the sword? That's it. Just really make it kind of obvious. That's it. Yeah, good. There we go, good. Okay, great. So we're going to look, we looked last time at number 3, the third kumitachi, it's one of the easier forms. We're going to look at number 1, it's quite a complex form. And it's just the way the set starts, but it involves some quite complex movements. We'll start just with the defending side in this one, because this is the side that really initiates it. So you start in equal side handing like this. This first movement is done as an opening, so it's done as an offering to do it. What we're going to do to really get the feeling for that it's not just an offering, it's also an attack. So if I've got someone that's totally asleep in the kamae, I'm just going to come forward and strike them on the top of the head. So in this case, what I want to do is just find that. And I'm not going to really offer an opening, I'm just going to come through straight onto the head. So it's really this feeling, and it needs to have this feeling of being really instantaneous. So you've got this kamae, and then just feel that everything just comes forward. Play with it a little bit. You can attack just the head, go into here, or you can really attack fully through, straight through, right through to the center. So just get the sense that you're just here, and you're just going to slide right in, press through. And this is a direct cut through. Really straight to the center line. That. I'm just going to kind of wedge yourself forward into it. This is one of those deceptively simple movements. There we go. That's it. Yeah, good. Yeah, so we've got a bad habit, and this is from the Suburi, it's to do this. And this is really too slow, so this is like pulling to the back, opening up. Now, what I'm doing is eventually giving them an opening to do it. So I do this move consciously by doing like this. What I don't do is like, and then that. So I'm not fully opening the body up. I'm creating an opening where just this is available. So this is really a trap, because later what I'm going to do is just slam down onto the sword when they take advantage of it. So this is really a trap later, but what it's built on is that, which is a very fast, efficient movement. So if I've got someone that's totally not guarded, totally asleep, I will just go that straight in. So it just goes straight onto the body. So you've got this kind of feeling. Now really feel that that's one motion. It's not gung. It's really that, and then straight in. So it's really a fast motion. So you've got that, and then connect. That. Yeah, it's not about speed, it's just about connection. Use this really slow. There we go, there we go, there we go. That's it, that's it, that's it. Good. Boom. Good. Great. Good. Okay, solo work's a really great thing to practice this. It tends to come up a bit later once we've got the forms in place. And then we go to a bit of a different level, like the level where you're looking at intention. So we tend to train the forms first and then look at this kind of level. But since we're doing it solo work, we can really go to this level quite early. So what I want to feel, it comes down to this idea of like signaling it, really. But the feeling, what I want to do is like get rid of these motions that happen to be like loading motions and then doing the strike. So again, it's this thing of like, I can think about the attack and then do it. If I do that, there will always be a tell. So there'll be a tick in the body. Something will happen in the foot, something will happen in the shoulder. For me, it's in the neck. Something goes, goes that, and then I do it. Or something happens in the eyes, or someone grimaces before they do it. All this stuff is tells, and it's super obvious if you're looking for them. So if you know to look for these things, then you can just see them. And you don't even need to look for them. Your body will clock them subconsciously. So it will just clock them. And if I know about them, I will just be able to catch the person out. So they'll twitch and then they'll go. So just get a sense that from here, you can really enter this state where you're really, really calm. Everything's just in place. And then just think about go. So it can be very, very subtle movement, but I need that movement to be silent. The attack needs to be totally quiet. So I don't want like a noisy, and in the end, it comes down to the kamai. So I don't want a really noisy kind of kamai and a noisy body and a kind of grimacing face, something that's going to do this kind of stuff. Really calm like a ghost, and then you go boom, straight through. So I want to be like undetectable. That's it. There we go, there we go, there we go. Good. That's it. Okay, good. So we're going to go to the other side to kind of switch roles now. So now you've got that opportunity. If I'm really on guard and switched on, if I'm not switched on, the person's just going to come through and slam onto the head. This is over. So what you're going to do now is like this, really feel you're connected into the person. Now, as soon as they're going to raise, I get pulled into it. And in this case, I'm going to go straight for the stomach. The target's kind of the solar plexus, it's about here. But you'll notice when I do this movement, that's the first part that gets exposed to the body. I can go for the leg, but it's really a risk. So what I'm going to go is like directly in and go for the solar plexus here. So just feel that as you've got your mirror image of the person, you've just done that form. So as soon as that person's pulled up, I want the back foot to come in, and I want the tip of the sword to start to press forward straight away. Again, this needs to be direct. So get the sense of the kamai, settle down, nice and calm. And then as you feel like the person's come in, go straight into it. And you're just playing with one foot in this case. So just pressing out the back foot in a diagonal. Give it a try. And you're going to go to your left in this case. Okay, good. Switch the lights on. Okay. That's it. Good. Okay, so this is a really strange movement, but it's got a really specific quality. So what I don't want to do is two things. I don't want to pull the sword back and then swing it through. This is too late. By the time I've gone back here, the person's already either chosen to cut me, or as I come through with the sword, it's already kind of cutting down onto the sword. So the other thing I don't want to do is just pass the sword forward and come into that kind of position. So because it's not sharp, because it's not a katana, I need to have an impact blow with it. But it needs to be very sharp. But the good thing is I don't need to generate a lot of power through the sword. All I need to do is get that point of the sword just to touch the solar plexus. If you can contact here, you need very, very little force. You can just try it on yourself, just there, onto the body, and just a little amount. You can imagine at speed, the sword's going about 80, 90 miles an hour, something like that, in full speed. And if I just touch that area, it's going to drop the body. So you're at least going to get this kind of action if you contact the person. So I don't need to generate a lot of power, but it does need to be direct. So it needs to have that kind of quality. And again, it's got that kind of snap, boom, in the body. And that is going to come from the hips again. So it's always going back to the hip work. Get a sense that that movement's coming from the hip. So it's something very direct from the hip. And just play with it. Again, it's the very first motion. That, and then it comes through like that. So just play with it. You can also do it this way. It's not quite how the form is, but it allows you to access it. You can get into this position, step out, and then snap through with it. So it's not quite how it is. That is all going to come together, but it just allows me to get into the right kind of space. Da, and then pressing the hips through it. Da, press the hips through. But I just want some kind of snap to happen. Da, da, and then it's going to come through. I don't need a lot of power in it, so it's more about, again, translating the weight of the body through the tip or through just that part of the blade. That's it. That's it. There we go. Great. Great. Okay, so we'll switch roles again, go back to the other side. Now, you've got to imagine that person, as soon as I go for that attack that I originally intended to do, which was pressing the body forward into it, they've already come through and hit the body. So what I need to do straight away is change the plan, like boom, within a kind of nanosecond. So I need to go here now and back straight away, pull the body back. So just play just with this, and it's just a kind of withdrawal of the body. I need to save myself. So I basically have created the opening, and then I can't kind of pull the body back like this. I've just got to change the plan back. And just let the sword come with you in this case. Don't focus on the sword so much. It goes in and then back. Just pulls back. And my first concern is just avoiding that strike to the solar plexus. So that, just coming back with it. So just withdrawing with it. Just play with it. All the kumitachi have these really interesting moments where you go in, change the plan straight away. And it's really a kind of ukemi work. So you've got to just shift because the reality's changed. I need to shift what I'm doing. Otherwise you just get hit.
So where's the weight distribution on that one?
Ah, good, yeah.
Because obviously if you're about to spring forward, you've got your weight on your back foot. And now you're saying go backwards.
So you see that point. As I go in, watch this. There. And then I'm already coming back into it. So this is part of the difficulty in the change. This is part of it. What I'll do is try and make it easy because naturally I'm going to go towards a kind of lazy thing. So I'll do something like this. And I'll just do this. I'll just press into the front foot and do that. But this has no initiative. So I don't create the opening in that case. I just do it like this. There's no real threat to it. So the shift in the weight is a bit like this. I shift it and then I shift it back. So that's the kind of quick shift. And that's going to, that again, it needs to be an instant shift. So I need to recognize it's changed and change the footwork pattern straight away. So just get the sense that it's like this, I'm 50-50 and then I commit and then I need to change it straight away. So it's going to happen in really a split second, but you can make this very slow. Yeah, comes into that kind of position. Yeah, that's it. It's a really tricky movement. Yeah, yeah. Good. Yeah. Dum. There we go. That's it. That's it. This is where kendo really helps. You've ever done kendo before? Shuffling the feet. Yeah. That's it. Good. So now match that movement back. What my intention to do now is what you've got is the person in front of you with the sword like this in this position. So they've not come to this position yet. So my intention in this movement is to slide back, save myself from this, and then the sword's right here, right in this point. So what I want to do is slam down onto the sword with my sword. And this is my aim is to get the person in that position, which is going to open them out in terms of this body work here. So my intention here is to come in, and then as I draw the body back, I'm going to shift the body down, and I'm going to slam the sword down into it. So it's like a shomanuchi cut, but it's got a slightly different intention. It's not to cut through the center, it's to disrupt the sword. So I'm trying to break the sword in this case the bokken, but I'm trying to slam the bokken out of the way. And my intention then is to come through and just strike through. So I'm trying to finish the form early. I'm not trying to prolong it, which is the point in this case. So just get this, and then it's that kind of feeling. And it's the feeling of the hips again, slamming down to the sword. I'm really trying to catch the person. Once we've got the form, you can really play with this, but yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, exactly. That's it. And that slam down should give you the possibility to kind of shift the body forward for a ski as well. Yeah, so this is where if the structure's being thrown out, this is where the saburi work's really essential for kumitachi work, because if my structure's doing something like this in the saburi, my translation for that movement is then to do something like this. Yes, and now it's impossible to bring the body together. I can get away with going backwards and pulling the form away, but I'm actually shifting towards the back. And the original intention of the form is kind of lost. So get the feeling that what you're doing here is something, the whole body's come into this position. And then that really gives me the opportunity to press through into something else. So I'm looking for really possibilities to finish the form. So in this case, that. And then that possibility to that also gives me the possibility to block back. And I'm not trying to pull back in this form. So we've not got a lot of time. We're gonna have to go quick. Let's see. Okay, good. Switch sides again. Now you've got that person here, so I've got this motion with that foot. And then what you've got now is the person drawing back, you've missed them, and they're gonna slam down on the sword here. And that will leave you totally exposed. So what I'm gonna do in this case is that, and then I'm gonna draw the whole back leg through and pull the sword with me this way. It's gonna come to the top of the head. So you've got this step here. You've got 1, 2, comes right through. And this pull is to avoid the strike from the other person. So you've got that, coming through. And I end up like kind of sat on a bar stool, boom, with the body down like this. Just give that a try. Yeah. So it's really about the feet and the hands in this case. Drawing out, pulling the body in. That's it. That's it. And if you can keep that original snap in the movement, that's good. Yeah, that's it. That's it. And just watch where you place the sword, really important. So when you do this one, what I don't want to do is somewhere here, where the sword's really close to the head. If the person impacts on the sword, it's gonna slam into the head like this. And this has happened a few times to me. So you really don't want that to happen. It's gonna give you really like a concussion in the body. So what you want to do also is not this. Coming up to this kind of position, because this is really awkward for the shoulders. My next attack's going to be very awkward. So I just want a position which feels kind of natural, and it's going to facilitate the next strike. So you get that. That's somewhere in that kind of position. If the sword gets struck, I just receive it, and I go through to the next move regardless. So actually, it doesn't matter if the sword makes contact at that point. There. I'm just going to receive it through and go to that one. So we'll go through to the next attack. You go like this now. You go here. Yeah, check that position, and then again, it's going to be the hips that unlock the movement. So that, and that's going to cut down, goes to that. So this is a left side cut. This cut traditionally, sometimes we practice it now for the head, but traditionally in the old series as well, you'll see it goes for the arm. So this attack is for the front arm. So the person will be in this position. Yeah, and this attack is going to go to the front arm like this. And my aim is to slam down onto the arm to disable the person that way. And then I'm going to go for the head. Like this. So this is like a nice trio for the attacker. You've got the stomach, the arm, and then next the head. Boom, onto the head like this. You've got a kind of trio of attacks. It's the aim. Stomach, arm, head. That's it, that's it, that's it. Yeah, good. That's it, good. That's it. Boom. Very nice. There we go. Okay, switch to the other side. Let's watch this. So you go like this now here. Now I'm in this position. Now you've got to imagine the person's around to the side. This is a very fast attack. They're going to swing the hips around and go right onto the arm like this. They're going to strike onto the arm. So all I've got time for in this case is go from this position to that to block the sword. So I'm just creating an angle where, so I don't have time in this case to do something like this and then do it. So it's not a full cut, it's really a block. So it's not two things. Just be careful with this movement because I don't have time to do this, but I also can't get away with just doing that. This is too weak. So this will just get blown away by the strike. So it needs to be something like this. It needs to have raise and coming down because I need to raise the sword up and meet it at an angle. If I don't do that, just that, this won't really work. And if I do this, it's too slow. So it's this fine line between what I can do, what I can get away with, and what will work for the situation. So you've got this, and then from here, this. And again, it's going to be released through the hip work. So this. And you can be quite calm in that movement. But it's quite a subtle movement, but I've not got a lot of time to carry it out, even at slow speed. That's it. There we go. That's it. That's it. Okie dokie. Just watch this doesn't go with the shoulders. So watch this. This is very easy because it's a small movement. I try and do it in the shoulders. So something like this. Something like that kind of happen. And then I'm twisting the body out. Again, allow the hips to release that motion. And the shoulders just going to follow that motion. So you've got there towards the center. It's actually the perfect position because I'm really centered. Everything's pulled towards the center. And then I just release the center and draw the sword out. That's a very tight movement. But if I release it and then try and do it with the shoulders, this won't go anywhere. It's very weak. So get the sense that the center pulls it all together. And then from that position, we'll do the last cut, stepping back, inserting the hip in, really with a finishing cut. So very, very tight. You go like 1, 2 with the block, and 3 with the cut through. And you release it. Just say 1, 2, 3. Really wedging through at the end. Give it a try. Not so much time. There we go, nice. He goes there. There we go. Sure. That's it.
Michael, but the whole movement is backwards, right?
It depends. Let's say for the form, for where we practice it safely, everything goes back because I'm trying to create a safe distance for the other person. So I'm trying to protect the attacker at the same time, and by not going onto the hands or onto the body. So when you do this safe at a kind of safe distance, I'm really going to draw the body back, draw the body back, draw the body back. This case. Now, when I've got someone I can work with safely, we'll cut the distance down and we'll go more towards this kind of distance. When I got someone we can really trust and work together, I'll go towards this kind of distance where you're working right onto the body and cutting onto the body. But for the basic, for most of the form we ever practice, or the way we usually practice, everything's going to draw back. And draw back, and draw back. The problem is I've got to understand as the attacker that sometimes I'm attacking actually off distance. The KUMITACHI less, but I need to understand that we're also practicing the form to learn it. One of the problems is people start to jump ahead and kind of knock the person's head off, and you're in a stage where I'm trying to learn the form. Not really productive. So trying to understand that. This is why you find in almost all Japanese systems, old systems, the senior is the one doing the attacking role, because they can gauge the pressure and gauge the level of danger and risk that the student can take. So it feels like that. Not got a lot of time at all. No time. There we go. That's it. Great. Okay, super. We'll stop there. I didn't quite cover them. It's my fault. We'll cover them maybe also on Wednesday as well, so we'll run through them. The key for me is not just like you can get the forms of just the patterns of movement, and they're interesting in themselves, but what's more important, what's more interesting is the level of what I'm doing, my intention, and what's the function of the movement specifically. What am I trying to achieve by doing it? And the kind of logic of the movements. Otherwise, it gets kind of lost. So that's the kind of level we can do also with the solo work, because we've got time to do it. So we'll try and work them on that level because it's a bit more interesting than just kind of running through sets. Okay. If you want to watch, we've got some great videos on the attacking channel. Lewis teaching seminars, running through all the kumitachi for like 20 minutes for kumitachi. So really explaining step by step what's the kind of function of the role. So check those out if you want in your own time. So. どうもありがとうございました。
どうもありがとうございます。
Right, good. Thank you. We go.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
See you next time.
See you.